Hi, everybody. I'm so glad you're here with me and Betsy. I'm Mary Ellen Stites from Create With Me, and I live in Central Illinois. And we come to you monthly with our Stamp It Your Way because we want you to use what you have and to be inspired. And so I'm going to let my cohort introduce herself.
Hey everybody, this is Betsy Kreider. I am Be Creative Stamping. I am from Central Pennsylvania in Lewistown, Pennsylvania. And we are so excited to bring you this month's kit and show you what we're doing this month.
So you guys come here and we are besties and we kind of get a little crazy because this is a good time for us to see each other. We don't get to see each other because we live 10 hours away. So hi Betsy.
Hi, Emmy! Yes, exactly. I just drove out to Emmy's place earlier this year. This girl is getting too old to make that drive in one night because it
I
is
know.
too long.
I
Yeah.
know, I know. And I'm so grateful that you come out and visit me.
So
The feedback I've gotten from people is they really enjoy our banter. So you know what? We're just kind of two crazy old gals. So we're
hey,
super
who
happy
you
that
calling
you do
old? Wait, who did you just call old? Easy, easy.
Well, I feel it.
There are days. There are
So let me
days.
tell you a little bit about Stamp It Your Way. This is a monthly subscription that we do with our customers or anyone who's interested, and we create packets of 4 cards, and you do 2 cards of each design. I do 2, and Betsy does 2, and we send you out 8 cards. So if you're interested in the subscription, you can just contact us and we'll hook you up with a link for that. But if you're here and you don't subscribe, that's okay because we are going to give you 4 amazing projects, and we are using Forever Forest. Forever
Yeah,
Forest.
yeah,
Super excited about this. So, I mean, you might look at this. You might have looked at this in the catalog and thought, because there's no words, right? But that's the
right.
thing about this stamp set is it's so versatile. So we decided this month that we were going to share different stamp sets and let people pick out a stamp set for their subscription. They got a free stamp set and the card kits for $35. So Betsy's going to talk a little bit more about the free stamp sets that we offered.
Crazy deal, right? I mean, that was like a no-brainer for anybody signing up for Stamp It Your Way this month was $35. You got 8 card kits and you got a free stamp set, $24 value. Sorry, I have got like how like you get like a little hair and there
Yes.
must be like one stuck in my glasses
And the
because it's
hinge.
tickling me like crazy on my
But your
face.
hair's not very long.
I know
Did
you
you
wouldn't
get
think
one of
this.
mine? Send it to
I've
you.
roomed with you. I've had your hair
Yes, I know. I
on
know.
me, around me. It keeps tickling my cheek here. It's like, oh, sorry. Okay. Yes, Stamp It Your Way was a no-brainer this month. Yeah, you got 8 card kits. You got free stamp set of your choice because it didn't have a greeting. Now, with Stamp It Your Way, every month, if you haven't done it before, every month we give you product. This month it just happened to be a free stamp set, but really you're getting free product every month for that 35. You could be getting paper, embellishments. There's something that we're always sending to you to allow you to continue to be creative every month. So it's really a win-win. Sign up. Stamp it
It
your
really
way.
is. And then if you sign up for 6 months in a row, we give you
Mhm.
even a bonus. So we give you $25 more in product in addition to your kit that month. So as a
So,
thank you for sticking with us. So it's
absolutely.
again, it's a
Yeah.
no-brainer. We're just helping you stay creative. And again, if you see these projects and you say, well, I don't have Forever Forest, but I've got this tree stamp set. Yes, use it. That's what we want you to do. We
Mm-hmm.
want you to
Mm-hmm.
use what you have and be inspired by what we do, whether just because it's new stuff, that's okay. Use what you have and be inspired and then share it with us. We both have
Yes.
community groups
Mm-hmm.
of creativity groups, and please share in there.
Yes, we would love to see what you're making, especially too if you're not using the same set we are, the same stamp folder, the same folder, whatever. That's helping us to be inspired. There's so many times where I'll be at a class and somebody does it differently than what I do, and it's like, well, heck, I like yours better.
Yeah.
So show us what you're making because that helps us stay inspired and keeps us motivated as well.
Yes, it
Uh,
definitely does.
Absolutely. You want me to toggle down? Time to
Yeah, let's
show my
do it.
desktop.
Let's
All right.
let's go make some cards.
So this month we are featuring the Forever Forest stamp set and bundle. It is a great one. I am a nature girl. I love any of these nature sets, and this one is definitely at the top of my list. You can never have enough trees. Never have enough trees. And I love that there's so many dies in this set, and it's got the landscape. You've got the mountains here that you can use. You've got little clouds, various trees that are going to cut it out. These cut out the stamps themselves, as far as when you stamp it. So there are so many options available with this, but there are no words, right? And we were like, oh, what do we do? There's no words in here. We wanted to also give choice. So what we did was we did give anybody that signed up, we gave them choice, and we said any stamp set that's in the catalog that is a $24 value, you can choose. I had some people that chose greeting sets, but I had people that chose non-greeting sets because maybe they already have greetings at home, that's the goal. Use what you have at home. We also wanted to give some options as far as for those that were interested to see whether or not you wanted Christmas or not. Like some people really wanted to be able to make holiday cards this month or do Christmas cards this month. And maybe we wanted to give them the option. So when we did our cards, we tried to give you two. So the first card we're going to do here on mine is going to be this one. Isn't it cute?
So cute.
It's so cute. But again, it gave you the option. So the same layout that you're making, I can do it as a birthday card, have it more of that masculine look, okay, versus making it more of a Christmas look. So that way, then our customers and you guys at home, you can kind of make it your way. What do you like to see better? Okay, so this is the card we're going to do. In the packet, oh, I should have pulled that paper and I didn't. There's a paper that is available that's called white centered paper. I think, is that the official name of it? I'd have to look it up. But
Yes,
it's like white centered specialty
yes,
paper.
that's right.
And now mine's pre-embossed already because I already did that before I started, but it comes in different shades. Night of Navy is one of them. And what it does is it's a specialty paper that has a white center to it. So Stampin' Up! Paper, one of the things I love about Stampin' Up! Paper is that it is solid the whole way through. So when you tear it, you're getting, if you tear this pebbled path, you're getting pebbled path the whole way through that paper. There is no white center. But sometimes you might want a white center just to give you a little bit more detail like this, to have something pop or shine. And that's what's great about this specialty paper is that it does have this white center that you can sand. And we're going to do that here in a second. So we've got Pebble Path as our card base. We've got some of this white center paper. We did some die cutting with the deckled rectangles. That's for the greeting. I went ahead and if you got the bundle, you will be die cutting your own tree. But we did go ahead and die cut this little tiny itty bitty deer. He's so cute.
I love that here.
I know, me too. It's like and I saw somebody using him the other day, and it's like I need to use him like on every card I do. I just do because he's just too stinking cute.
I know.
So I think it's the it's the Grove Dies is where he comes from. The
Right.
Grove Dies. Yep. And those are available in the annual catalog. We gave some envelopes, of course. We've got some basic white for the inside. One of my favorite new colors is Pecan Pie. Pecan Pie is a new color. And then you got some old olive in your packet, and that's what you're going to use to die cut your trees. Okay. So you had a piece of old olive in there. So I'm going to start by going ahead and sanding this. Now I did it in both the snowflake. If you were doing the winter one, if you wanted to do the holiday one, I did the snowflake. But then I also used, which is this folder right here, by the way. That's the Snowflake Sky folder. It's very pretty. I used this folder, which is, oh gosh, it's part of the essentials. It's part of the online exclusives. And there are 3 folders that come in there, and they're essentials. And I just love these dots. They're so big and bold. And this folder is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
called Basics. Is that
Basics. Is
right?
it called Basics?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
thought
think
it
so.
was called
Basic Essentials or something.
Basic Essentials, maybe, or Basics. I don't know.
Basics. Yeah, something like that. It's on the
Mhm.
online. We are just the best demonstrators in the world. We know exactly what we're talking about at all times.
Yes, we do. Well, there's a lot to know.
There
I
is
mean,
a lot to know.
let's just put it out there.
Exactly. We're amazing. All right. So what we have here is what I pulled was an old emery board. Just one I had stuck in a drawer somewhere that's kind of crappy, and I just pulled it out. You could also use now I had to look this up. A low grit is actually coarser than a fine grit or a higher grit, which is finer, I believe. You just want to use one like a piece of sandpaper or something that isn't super coarse. But all I did was just use an emery board, and I just started to kind of scrape it right over top. I felt like the emery board actually gave me a little bit more control over what I was doing. And the more I sanded, the more I got some of that white to show through. This paper is a little thinner than our regular cardstock, so you don't want to be too rough with it. Though I did like it when it kind of came off around the sides. Do you see how it's starting to expose that white?
Yeah.
Right? Just a little coarse.
I always keep an emery board in my toolkit because sometimes you need it for this, which is fantastic. But sometimes
Right.
you need it if your cutter's not super good. You might need to just use the emery board just to, you know, grab that little edge and smooth it out. So I
Oh, I
always,
didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that. I just keep one in
yeah,
there because guaranteed I'm somewhere and I'm going to break a nail. But I didn't even think
well,
about
that
that
too, that too.
as far as doing it um, for on my blade. I kind of like it with like big chunks of it missing. I just like that look. You can do it as much or as little as you like. Just kind of get it where you want it. It's going to be a little messy, but it's not too bad. Get it where you want it to be. That looks pretty good, right?
Really good.
All right. I am going to attempt to clean this up. Attempt. Going to attempt to clean that. Okay. Hey, I wouldn't be a stamper if I wasn't messy, right?
That's right.
All right. So it works the same way with this one. It works the same way with the snowflake one. It's just that it's going to pop a little bit more because you have all those little snowflakes. You see them? And they kind of pop a lot faster. So it depends on the folder that you're using on how much you're going to get. And again, it's just an old emery board that I'm using to file that down to expose the white center from the paper, right? Cute.
Cute.
Easy, cute, cute, and easy. All right, I'm just gonna, it's gonna be all over the place, but that's all what it's gonna be. All right, so I'm going to put this onto my pecan pie base. There we go. And fold my card base in half. Oh, handy dandy bone folder. I use dimensionals to pop this up onto my card base. This card is so easy to make. There's not a lot to it. I'm going to add that to my center. For my tree, I want the tree over here on the side. So all I'm going to do is lightly just add a little bit of glue right down the center. That's all I need to hold that. I don't need glitter or glitter. I don't need glue all over it. Just a little bit right down the center is enough to hold my tree on. And I'm just putting that right along the side right there. Okay. I did use some little mini dimensionals on my little deer. And you might need to actually cut these. They're a little, he is kind of tiny. Actually, I think that looks good. 2 little mini dimensionals. Just kind of tucking him as if he's coming out from behind the trees. Okay, and then the next thing is the greeting. So on this one, I am going to go ahead and use the birthday one, and I used happiest of birthdays, and that's from the throughout the year set. And I'm using the pecan pie. Right. Oh, I got little shavings everywhere. Happiest of birthdays, right there. While I have my ink out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the tree using the same ink. And I'm going to do that in for the center. And I'm also going to do that for my envelope. And then this guy goes in the center. And you could have put a layer of, I really like it when my cards coordinate. So sometimes I would even put a layer of maybe the Night of Navy behind that or Old Olive behind that, just to kind of give it even more pop. Because I like the insides to look just as nice as the outsides. And I'm going to add some dimensionals here. I'll pop that up so it's coming off the side. Look, this card's like less than a couple of minutes and it's done. It's so fast and so easy. All right, and then I'm going to use the rustic. These are the rustic metallic dots. It's one of my favorites. Again, I like that more natural look. I don't know why Mary Ellen's friends with me. She's so bright and bold, and I'm like boring. But I like my little. There was a challenge. I got to tell you about the second card. So the second card, there was a little bit of a joke. Mary Ellen was at an event with friends, and there was a little bit of joke where I was making these cards this month, and I sent them my samples, and there was a challenge placed on whether or not I could make a card without brown. So that's how the second card that we're going to do here in a second came about. And I'll tell you, it was a struggle to make a card without brown. That is very hard for me to do.
Well, you did great.
I did great. There's this, yeah. So we'll do the second card. So this one's done. Look how easy that was.
I love it.
Super cute. All right. So there is card number 1 done. Easy peasy. All right. So card number 2 was my attempt to make a card without brown. So yes, I made it without brown, but I got to tell you, there's still neutrals in there because I can't make a card without neutrals. It is just a struggle for me. I just have a heck of a time trying to do that. So I choose, and this is kind of funny. It's a shaded spruce base with the pretty peacock. And I just really like those colors. And then, of course, my grays have to be in there. But I like that wooded scene, that little forest scene that you have going on. But can you see the shine and the sparkle of the stars?
Yeah, you really can.
Isn't that cute? I'm going to show you a little trick on that here in a second. All right, so let's get going on this one. So in this one, again, I used the stamp set, and I had to use this really large stamp. That's all one. And then I used the dies to do the the mountains. I used the clouds, and then I used the little moon on this one. We also pre-die cut for you the deckled circles. These are a must for anybody. I mean, look how many circle dies there are in one set. So many circles. We went ahead and we pre-die cut for you this circle out of your base so that you're ready to go for that. So let me pull my packet here. I went ahead and did some of the die cutting ahead of time. So you've got your card base, which is the shaded spruce. Just go ahead and fold that while I have it. Nice shaded spruce. Okay. Then I have, of course, my envelope. I'll put that aside. I've got 4 pieces of, because we do 2 of each, so there's 2 pieces here of Pretty Peacock. That's one for the front and one for the inside. We have 2 pieces of basic white. One's going to be for the inside, and this one is going to be for the front, which is already pre-die cut for you. You're also going to have a couple pieces of the smoky slate and the basic gray, and this is what you're going to use to cut your mountains. Now, what I wanted to do is I cut mine up a little bit. I didn't cut them straight down at the bottom. I did bring them up a little bit and create a little bit of a larger base to my mountains. That way, then whenever I put it on, I could layer it a little easier. So when I got it, when you cut it out, it looks like this. Okay. And by the way, on this piece, you also want to cut a moon. So you have plenty of extra on here to just die cut a little moon out of the extra pieces you have. But here is where I die cut this one. Now we gave you a 6, I think it's like 6 by 2. So if you center it, it doesn't cut out completely. All you need to do is take your scissors, and at the ends, I just snip it just to release that here and here. And there are my mountains. Okay. So I've got 2 mountains. I have also got, you also have a piece of basic white, and this is what you're going to use to die cut your little, here's my little moon. This is also what you're going to die cut your clouds with. So you have 3 clouds there, and you'll use that piece of white to do that. And then last is a piece of Pretty Peacock. And the Pretty Peacock is to die cut some trees that you'll use on the front. Easy, right?
Yeah.
Lots of little pieces, lots of little die cuts, but comes together very quickly. Okay, this one we're going to do first. Now, this is going to layer on the front, but I want my trees back here. So I'm going to bring in my large stamp, and I'm going to use my Pretty Peacock ink. And I'm going to ink this up. Now, when you have a stamp that is larger than your ink pad, it is way easier to ink it if you just put the stamp flat on the table. Don't try to hold it and do it. Put it flat on the table and then put the ink pad down on top of the stamp. It is easier to stamp it that way than trying to do it the opposite way. Okay. I'm going to make sure I get that good and inked. Then I know that my trees, I want them to be more towards this side. Okay, so what I'm going to do, hopefully I can do this without dropping the stamp. See how I want to line that up? Because I want to be able to see where my trees are going to be right in my opening. So I'm going to kind of line that up a little bit, and then I'm going to stamp. Okay. And actually, I think I went a little high. So I might turn that over and do it again. Because I don't want the top of that tree to show up here, right? Can you see how I did that? I don't want that. So I'm going to actually turn that over, and I'm going to do it again. And that's the great thing about our paper. It is 2-sided.
Yeah.
So that when I mess it up, I have the opportunity to do it again. So again, I'm just going to kind of get an idea where that's going to go. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. I don't worry about the bottom so much because the bottom is going to be covered by my mountains. When I first did it, I was using Post-it notes to kind of cover the bottom because I thought, oh, my trunks are going to show, but they don't because I'm going to cover that up with my mountains. So I just want to care about that top and making sure that I don't go too high to get that. And I let that sit there for a second. Let your ink absorb into the paper. Don't be in a rush. And then that'll give you a nice solid image there. That looks better. So that now when I go to put this on, that looks where I want it to be. So I'm going to use dimensionals on the back of this. And when I did, I wanted to have it almost be like a window looking out into those trees. So I'm adding the dimensionals pretty close to that circle because that's where I really want it to kind of pop up. And I use a lot of dimensionals on this one. And you can remember that you can always cut your dimensionals. Make sure you use all of them. Sometimes I just tear them. But then it's just easy to just cut them like this. And then I can use these skinny ones here. Right? Easy, right? Lots of dimensionals.
Can you have too many dimensionals? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. All right. So I'm going to line this up and put this on the front like that. Okay. So there are the window into seeing my trees. Okay. Then what I want to do is I want to start to put my mountains on. Now, when I did my mountains, okay, I actually brought this one up a little bit, right? So I'm going to bring this over a little bit, maybe about there. And it's going to be more than what I need, but that's okay. So I'm going to do this one and I'm going to have it flat. So I'm going to add just a little bit of adhesive right along the bottom. I don't need a lot. And I'm going to add that so it goes about there, maybe about 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom. And I can kind of line this one up with it to see if I've got enough. See that? How if I offset that just a little bit, that's going to cover up any of that white space that I have there just by popping that up on top of it like that. And the other reason I didn't put glue too high on the mountains is because I don't want it to adhere to this piece in the back. And I also want to be able to kind of tuck my trees behind it. So I did only put a layer of glue just on that one side, just on the towards the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this one. You could do your mountains going this direction if you wanted to, which I kind of like, which is opposite of this one. So why don't I do that? Because you know what? This is my card and I can make it any way I want, right?
That's right.
That's right. So let's live it up. Let's do it different. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue.
I say you could even flip them. Flip them. I mean, you
Oh,
can.
you probably could do it that way. The only thing I noticed with this is that the die does have like, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that it has some texture to it?
Yeah, I wondered if you flipped the first one that was underneath that maybe it wouldn't, but
Oh, you're right, because I bet you wouldn't see that quite as much.
yeah, it
You're
could be
so
cool.
smart. Don't let that
Well,
pretty face
no,
fool you. I'm
just
telling you.
something. No, just something different. I just thought, oh, I
Just
like it that
something
way. Don't
different.
get me wrong. I just thought, oh, there's lots of
No,
possibilities.
that is a very good idea. Oh, my computer just went off because and I have my one light plugged into it. So give me 1 second here while I get my light back on. Hey, there's the light. So there we go. So there are my mountains. And what I can do is I can easily just turn this over and I can trim this up. Now you could trim just flush straight with the pretty peacock if you wanted that to go out around there. Or if you just pick it up a little bit, you can trim it so that it's flush with the white. It's pretty easy to do, just like that. And I'm going to pick this side up over here. This one I'm going to go from this direction, I think. There we go. So there are my mountains. Now what I want to do is I want to bring in my trees. And I'm going to go with the tallest tree over here on the left. And again, I'm just using a little bit of glue down the center. Okay. And I'm going to tuck this in and have this go right at the edge of my window, so that part of the tree is going over into the window and part of the tree is on that white, on the white. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. A little bit of glue down the center. I'm going to come on this side and do the same thing. Onto the white, but have the tree overlap into that center circle. Last is this little tiny tree. And I'm going to bring that in right beside it. How easy is that going together?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I just love those colors. Last, I'm going to go ahead and put on my little moon. And I had my moon going this direction. I kept going back and forth on this on whether or not the moon should be that way or that way.
I don't know.
To me, it just looks better going to the right. I don't know why, but it just does. I don't know. I'm not quite sure why. I mean, the moon goes in both directions. I mean, you see it coming and going like as it changes every month or every day. It's weaning back and forth. I just added a little tiny bit of glue right on the tip of that moon because, again, I want that moon to kind of go over my opening of my seam. So I'm just putting glue at the top, not at the bottom, because, again, I want it to hover over top of that opening, right? Same way with the cloud. I'm going to do one small cloud, and I'm going to do that where I'm just entering it, again, just a little bit of glue on the one side so that it goes over the seam. And then this little guy is going to go flat down here. And then for the larger one, I went ahead and used some mini dimensionals. In this case, I just trimmed it. So I just trim up like on the side, however much I want. Add that to my cloud and put that right there. How cute, right?
Yeah.
All right. So in this case, then what I wanted to do, and this is where I'm going to attempt to not get messy. I'm going to try very hard not to get messy. And actually, I need to clean this stamp here before I go on, because I'm going to use the same tree for the next card. Sorry if I'm shaking the table here a little bit. All right. Here's where I'm going to attempt not to get messy, but I have a feeling that I'm going to get messy. So everybody knows and loves Wink of Stella, right? Wink of Stella is one of these tools that's like, where was this all of my life when I was dealing with glitter and glitter being everywhere, right? Wink of Stella is a brush that, if you're not familiar with this tool, Wink of Stella is a brush that has like a liquid glitter in it already. So when I use it, let me find a piece of scratch paper here. When I use it, it's going to add shimmer to my project for me. And it dries almost immediately. It takes a couple seconds, but it dries pretty fast. But it's a way for you to use and get glitter or shine where you want it to go. But what happens is, like, if you're like me, you use it a lot to the point where it gets empty. And you can hear this. I don't know if you can hear this. Can you hear that?
I can't hear it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it kind of makes it.
Yeah.
Can you hear that? It kind of makes a sound when it's empty. Like when you push it here, and it even says push, right? You squeeze, and what happens is that from the barrel here, the liquid comes down into the brush and it fills into this filter down here in the brush. So when it's empty, you hate to throw it away because there's still so much available in this little barrel. So there are a couple ways you can do this. One of them is that you can grab a pair of pliers or just a tool, and you can grab a hold of this barrel right here where the black is. And I didn't bring one with me, so I don't know that I can grab it with my nail. But what you want to do is you want to grab this black piece and pull. And when you do, you can add some, I just use the rubbing alcohol to put down in there. But here's another trick for you, is that if I bring in, I just have like a little bowl here of alcohol. If I squeeze this, you know how like sometimes when you squeeze something out and you squeeze too much, you can squeeze it back in. Does that make sense? You can kind of suck it back into the tube.
Yes.
There's no easy way to say this without it's just sounding weird, but you can suck it back into the tube. Same concept here. If I squeeze this and put this down in and then I let go, it sucks some of that into my tube. Okay. And if I do it again gently, where I'm taking the air out, it's like a vacuum, I guess. I take the air out and then I squeeze and I put it down in there. It actually is adding just a little bit of liquid to the barrel so that I have a little bit more that I can work with. So let me move that out of the way before I spill it. Okay. So that now when I squeeze, I might be able to get a little bit, I don't know if you saw that, but I immediately got more coming down into my barrel. Okay. Because it picked it up. Either way, what I want to do here is I want to make sure that my brush is nice and wet. It has a lot of water in it or a lot of alcohol in it. And if this is the case, you could even just use this to kind of pick it up with your brush to get it nice and wet. And then I just want to like kind of tap it. And that is creating that shimmer. And once it dries, you'll see it a little bit better. But all it's doing is it's creating that shimmer, that splatter of shimmer all over the front of that card. So you can keep using these a little bit longer by just adding a little bit of alcohol to them. And now can you see that shimmer?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So easy to do. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the front of my card. I like the stars. And actually, you know something? Now that I look at it, I did do it that way for a purpose. See, this is what happens when my brain works and then sometimes when my brain doesn't. Look at the bottom of my card. Do you see my tree trunk sticking out?
That's okay.
Okay, for you at home doing this card, be smarter than me and remember why I had the Post-it notes. I knew there was a reason why I had these Post-it notes. So what you want to do is you can line up your Post-it notes right along that bottom edge of that paper before you stamp, and then you won't have your tree trunk sticking out. There you go. Hey,
that doesn't bother
we
me.
are not perfect stampers, are we? I am so far from it.
Well, I think the card is beautiful.
It's good. It's good. I like it. You know, hey, it's as I would tell anybody in my classes, this is a handmade card. This is a homemade project. This is not something that has to be perfect. This is you. This is you, right? I will send that card to my favorite person that I know will just laugh and think it's funny that I did that. All right. I'm going to stamp the moon, but I didn't want it super dark. So I stamped off a little bit so that I just got a lighter shade whenever adding that to my envelope and my inside. See, I knew I had those Post-it notes there for a reason. Gosh darn it. I'm a slight perfectionist at times, and it's not a good thing.
It bothers you more than anybody else.
I'm sure it does. And I tell I tell people that all the time. It's like, it's fine. But my own self, I would be like, that doesn't make me happy. But you know what? It's okay. I like it anyway. And anyway, somebody's going to have their card like that. You're never going to see it.
Nope.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with my cards. And this again is also a fairly simple layout, but it's got some fun techniques. And I'm going to show you how to do this fun technique with the trees to give it that kind of different color variation. And then I've got some water droplets in there and stuff. So I use the greeting, "You're in my hearts and prayers," from, let me get it out here just a minute. I think I have it. From So Sincere. Okay. But I also used a greeting on the inside. "May you find peace in the days to come and in the loving thoughts that surround you now," from Hope You Know. So if you have either of those, so it's just something a little bit different. Okay. And then I'll show you my Christmas version at the end. So
I didn't know you did that because I don't even have that set. I don't even know where that set's from. That's so cute.
Oh, Hope You Know.
Yeah, I don't even know where. I don't know that I've seen that set.
It's in the annual catalog, and I use this one a lot, especially the "Wishing You Comfort." That's one that I use a lot. But I mean, "Hello, friend, thinking of you today." There's just a lot of really, really nice greetings when you're going to send a card to someone and just let them know that you're thinking about them or if they've had a loss of some kind. So,
well, I'll be adding that to my shopping list.
Okay, good. So what you're going to get in your packet, if you got the packet from us to complete this card, is your card base, which is a thick basic white, and it's 8.5 by 5.5. It's a lot of white. See a lot of white here. This is a piece that I cut. We cut you a half of a sheet that's 11 by 4 1/4, so that you would have a lot to be able to move around where you wanted your trees. Because maybe you don't like the coloring over here, but you like the coloring over there. So you should be able to get enough trees for both cards out of that. Two pieces of 3 1/2 or 3 3/4 by 5, one for the inside, one for the outside, and then your Lost Lagoon for your layer for your inside. And then you've got a little piece for your greeting. And then there's a little piece for under your greeting here. If you choose to use it, you might not choose to use it because your greeting is different. That's perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and start with the coloring. I'm going to set all this out of my way. I'm going to bring in my grid paper so that I don't make a big fat mess on my desk. The colors that I used were a variation on this one is a variation of blues. So I've got Pool Party, I've got some Coastal Cabana, I've got some Lost Lagoon, I've got some Soft Seafoam, which is a little on the green side. I've got Pretty Peacock. I don't know if I'm going to use Pretty Peacock. I think I'm going to use it. I think I'm going to keep it on the light side, and I may not use the Soft Seafoam either. I may keep that for my Christmas version. So I think I'm going to stay with these. I could bring in, I've got, you could bring in anything. And what I'm saying is you could be flexible. So you could bring in a little balmy blue, a little boho blue. I'm kind of staying in the greeny blue arena. Okay.
I like those. I love those colors together.
Yeah.
They are
So
so pretty.
I like to start with the lightest color, and that's Pool Party in this case. And it's really just, and it doesn't even, honestly, you could just start on your paper. And it doesn't matter if, see how it looks splotchy? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because it's actually the look where you cut your trees and how cool it looks. This brush is a little funky, but I like to put my finger on here. So I don't mind that kind of that brushed look on this technique. And you'll see why. When I cut the trees, you're never going to see it. You're never going to see it. Oh, that pad's really juicy. Juicy that is.
That's a lot of ink right there.
That's a juicy one. All right. So I am just adding color. I got lots of blues here. And I know you're going to say, well, that looks awful, but it's not going to look awful. When you cut the trees, it's going to have that marbly variegation look, which is going to look so gorgeous on these really thin little trees. It's going to just, it's picking up so little of that, and it's going to have that kind of windblown-y. I don't know how to explain it. I'm just going to say, don't stress about that. This is just a, I got to see which one did I just use. Okay.
Windblown-y is a very good way of describing it. Windblown-y works.
That's, I think that's official. It's an
I think it is. Windblown-y I like.
And I'm not worried about covering my whole paper, but I do want to cover the majority of it. I think I'm going to like the way this turns out. I know you're going to be like, okay.
I know. I'm looking at that thinking, like, I'm not quite sure about that. That's kind of like a little on the
No, it's gonna look super cool. I think I'm gonna bring in a little bit of that green. I said I wasn't sure, but I think I do want a little
we make it our own, right? We make it our own. Could you imagine doing this in pinks? I am such a non-traditional color girl that that idea in pinks and the greens would be really pretty too.
Oh, that sounds really lovely. Okay, see how I brought in the Soft Seafoam, and that just adds a little extra. Where you've got light, you can go ahead and go over color. I've got some that I'm doing here would be really, really pretty. So this is kind of a funky technique. Hold that up. So it looks so bizarre, right?
Right.
So let me close my pads, and then I'm going to do a little water spotting on it. I'm going to bring in a water painter. This would work great with Betsy's Winkostella look. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I've just held water, got it dripping pretty heavy. So I want it to drip into my hand, get those big drops off. And then all I'm doing is I'm shaking first, getting the big drops. I've seen it where people have done this. I don't know. I never did this. So I'm going to see if this works. Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go. So is that just water or are you using alcohol?
Just water. This is
Just
just water.
water.
Yep. So I'm going to drip it. So if you don't have an aqua painter, get a little drips of water in your hand and just sprinkle it. Just like
Look
that.
how cool that
Isn't
is.
that weird? It's so cool. You know, you can also do the old tapping thing too. So you can
Look at it starting to appear on the paper. Isn't that cool? It's just like magic.
Yeah, it's really fun. So you have to kind of let it dry for a minute. I do have my heat tool here, so I want to get plenty. But what I was saying was it would be really cool with Winkostella too. Let's give it a quick, I've got the heat tool, so let's give it a, sorry for this noise. Just to dry it off just a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to pre-cut that because I wanted to decide where I wanted my trees. So let me bring in my, let me just move this out of the way. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I have to use the big one. And this is going to be a massive for way my camera's set up. But hopefully it will work out okay.
You're fine. It looks good. Looks good.
What we need is this big tree here. I'm going to put them on here so you can see. We're going to use this tall one and then these 4. We're going to use those 4, okay?
I love those trees. Love them, love them, love them.
So now you got a decision to make, okay? So when you put your paper up here, whoop, now you've got a decision like, do I want my big tree to be more blue, more green? I think I'm going to go towards the blues. And I like this right here because there's a big variegation of blue, green, blue. And then the other ones, I want to pick up a lot of those dots. So see what I'm doing? I'm kind of scattering it all over. And then I want green for this last little one. Crazy. But you've got a lot of spots to put in your trees for your next card too. Let's give it a whirl and then you'll see what we have when we're done. I'm going to move this out of the way, bring that in and get this gone. Okay, fun. This is the fun part. So then we get to see what we have here. I love this.
And each one you do is going to be different.
Every one is going to be different. There's a couple spots that need to be poked out of this. So see, you've got the little dots here.
Cute.
Right here of water. So pretty. So this ended up being more on the green side than the blue side. Do I have one? I'm missing one. Oh, here it is. We've got more blue on that one. I kind of like that color. So here's this one.
Yeah.
And here's what I got. So it's not too far off. So let's put these out of the way. And then we'll assemble our card. But look at how much room you have for all. You could do your greens, blues. You could add the pretty peacock if you really want a pretty peacock. But you've got a lot to work with. And you can go over if you say, oh, well, there's no spots here. Just go ahead and add some. Okay. All right. So pretty. All right. So let's bring in our card base. And it goes together again, just like yours, very quickly. So here's a card base. And then I embossed over here the snowflake sky folder, just like you did on yours. So we've got that one. And I'm not going to put that on there yet because I want to wrap it with ribbon. So I'm going to bring in some of the Lost Lagoon braided ribbon. And I'm going to, I do mine all the way around my card. You could just, I want to show you 2 ways. So I do mine all the way around. You could just go like this and then tie a knot. Okay. If you want to save that few inches, which is fine. I guess I'm a ribbon waster.
I do it your way too. I do it your way. I wrap it the whole way around.
I think the reason that people, one of the reasons that people like to do it the other way is they feel like they don't get it tight enough and it's loose. And really, what I tell everybody is, look, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
You have to cup your card. See how it's cupped?
Mm-hmm.
You have to cup your
Mm-hmm.
card and hold it down. And I'm going to do my little knot here, because then you will make sure it's plenty tight and it will flatten out. See, it's perfectly flat now.
Yep.
So go ahead and cup your card just a little bit.
That's a great tip. That's
Yeah,
a
it
great
is.
tip.
It just, then it's not all loosey goosey.
Yep.
Okay, so now we could go ahead and adhere this to our base, and I'm going to bring in my seal. And this is just centered like that. Okay, now when I go to put these trees on, I hope I have them all here. I have a little tip for you. So I like to use, so see the mini, you already showed this a little bit, but the mini dimensionals are the perfect place to make tiny little strips.
Mm-hmm. I
You
love
have
that.
all that's wasted. I mean, it's left over if you don't
Yep.
use it. So I have literally a bowl full of these that I
Mm-hmm.
use for classes. And I did this the other day for club. I was just sitting here with the black dimensionals because we were doing a Halloween card and we needed the little, for the little skeleton, we needed thin little strips. So I'm doing way more than I need, but I'm just showing you there's a lot. And I still have another
Mm-hmm.
side. So use all those. And what you're going to do with them is you're going to, just like Betsy did on hers, where she ran liquid glue down the center. I'm just going to run the dimensional strip down the center and then take my snips and just snip it off. I'm going to start by adhering this first tree. Whoops, stuck to my fingernail. Just like this. Okay, so then
Gosh, that's pretty just like that.
So pretty. Yeah, I know, just like that. Stop now. Don't go any farther. I think the hardest part of this is just getting the stuff off the little adhesion strips, adhesive strip stuff.
That is a really good way. I think most people know to use every piece of their dimensionals, but when you need something thin and long like that, those mini dimensionals have the perfect border for that.
Well, I know that we have the foam strips, but
they're not that thin.
They're thick. Exactly.
They're very thick.
They're really
yes.
thick. And this is not what I wanted for this card. I did not want the thick. Now I've got a little edge showing, but I don't even think you can see it because it's white on white. It just kind of disappears.
Yep.
So I don't really worry about that. I got a little off the edge. And then I'm going to add this last one. You can cut them as thin as you want. And I'm going to tuck this last one in here. A little overlap. Okay, so there's my little
pretty.
It's so pretty. So we're going to finish off with a couple things. I want to add a linen bow to this. Now, in my card, I might have said in the tutorial that there's two ways to do it. This one, I tied the bow and then I used a mini glue dot and I just adhered it. This time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under here and I'm going to tie it right around. Let's see, I think I can get, that's plenty. I'm just going to tie it around, no mini glue dot needed, and tie my bow just like I'm tying my shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that either one gives you more control. Maybe the mini glue dot does because you can get it right where you want it, but afterwards I thought I kind of like it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to not worry if my, whoops, they go either way. Now let's talk a little bit. I got this a little low, so I think I might do my greeting up here. I just did that a little low accidentally. So I'm going to use You Are in My Heart and Prayer, and I'm going to get my Heart and Prayers, and I'm going to get my Lost Lagoon, and I am going to Stamp that right there. And I'm going to show you how I made my tag. You can do a pre-made tag of something you have. You could just cut it. You could flag the ends. But what I did, and where's my punch? Hold on just a minute. Oh,
Story of my life. Where's my punch?
well,
Either that, or where's my scissors, or where's my bone folder, or where's my
oh,
take your pick?
it's right here. It had a stamp on top of it. So I use the modern, no, so fun. I use a modern label punch. And what I did was I came in from one side, okay, centering it close as I could, gave it a punch. And then I did the same thing. You could turn it over if you're right-handed. That works out easier to do it like that. And then just center it again. You might move your hand out of the way, make sure it looks good. And so that gave it's kind of looks like a tag. It actually looks a little bit like a dog tag, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's a great idea. My goodness. Yeah, to be able to, it gives you so many more uses to a punch, right?
Exactly. And then I got we've given you a little quarter strip of Lost Lagoon. I'm going to snip that. And I'm going to pop it up. So I think because I put my ribbon down low, and see here, I stamped it my way and put the ribbon up high, I'm going to add some dimensionals to this. And I am going to pop it up high. And I like both ways. I think they both look good. I mean, I could go over here, but I think I'm going to go right over here. I just don't want to go on my trees too much.
That's cute. I like it up there too. I mean, I think either way it looks good.
I say I could almost tuck that under there, but so there's both versions. I didn't realize I was off the camera. So this
you were good.
Down and this one's up. But let me show you my Christmas version. And here's my Christmas version. So I did Old Olive and the soft sea foam, and I think a little bit of Lost Lagoon, a little bit of Pool Party. And so you can see the droplets right here. And this one would really benefit from the Winkostella. Would be gorgeous. Yeah. And then I used a greeting from, I don't remember. I think I have it here.
Is that the glow one? The brightly
glow
so.
And then there's the happy holidays from the throughout the year. Now let me finish the inside of mine because I did not do that. So let me bring in my pieces. I want to stamp the inside and I want to stamp my envelope. So I am going to use, and hold on just a minute, have right here my cleaner. I want to clean my stamp. Okay, so I'm using that cluster of trees with the soft sea foam.
They could make the blue card even with the blue and the Lost Lagoon. They could even make that Christmas.
Yes, definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Okay,
that's cute.
And then this is that nice greeting. May you find peace in the days to come and in the loving thoughts that surround you. Now, let me get it straight. I really like that. And it'll dry a little bit lighter. Didn't leave you much room to sign it, but I think if in a case like this, a lot of times, I'm just going to be honest here, a lot of times we just don't always know, what to say, right?
Yep. So, yep.
Well, I don't know that I want those two because I'm doing my envelope, so I'm going to go the other way. And I'm going to stamp these 3 right there.
Nice.
And we can sign our name and
I agree. Sometimes you just don't. There are no words, and
there is nothing. Yeah,
there's nothing you can say other than exactly what this says.
People just want to know that you care. Honestly.
Exactly. That you're thinking about them.
Yeah. So that's the one that's already got it inside. Okay. So that's card number 1, and there's my version. All right, so let me move my stuff out of the
Mm-hmm.
way here quickly. And I'm going to bring in my card number 2, my
Mm-hmm.
bits and pieces here. All of a sudden, I can't
While
find that
she's
card.
while she's pulling that, I did not actually put a greeting on my second card at all. I didn't have a greeting on the front or the inside. So the nice thing about that is that you can kind of make it whatever you want. Even the card that she just did. Do you have to put a greeting on that? Probably not. You can change it up and make it whatever you want it to be. So I love having that flexibility.
So I'm going to show this card in 2 different versions. This is my Christmas version. Happy holidays. Okay. And then I'm going to do a thinking of you card now. So this one again is fairly easy. It's got a card base that is boho blue. And then you've got 2 pieces, one for the inside, one for the outside of basic white. You've got a piece to cut your mountains, and you've got a piece to cut your trees. And then you've got some of this silver adhesive glitter. Do you love this or what?
Oh my
So,
goodness.
so good. So we're going to cut that. I just think it's easier to cut that right when you're ready to do it because it just is. All right.
Then you don't lose all those little stars all over the
Yes,
place. Been there,
I
done
mean,
that.
you're gonna see it. You're gonna see why I say that. Okay, you're gonna see why I say that. So I'm gonna start with some crumb cake, which I have over here on my left, and I'm gonna do a more blending. And again, this is, and you can see on my card, honestly, I like this look. Now, if you don't like this look and you want to take the time to make yours perfectly blended, go right ahead. I like I think skies are so variant that I don't
Mm-hmm.
mind that at all. I liked
Mm-hmm.
having just the little darkness to come through and then the little lightness, especially around my greeting.
Mm-hmm.
So
It
I
gives it that look of being like dusk or
exactly,
pre-dawn, right? When the
exactly.
stars and the moon are still out, that pre-dawn, that dusky kind of look. I like that variant shade in there.
The only reason I'm adding a little bit of crumb cake down here, and that's fine too, because my mountains are going to be down there and it's going to look like a little hill, is that when I do add it, then it's not going to show just white. So it's a little darkness
Mhm.
around. I actually could see going up a little bit higher.
It gives the mountains a 3D look, right?
It does. It does. Now I need to clean my stamp again from my green because we're going to use it here with the crumb cake. And we're going to make some trees that go behind our mountains. Okay, so you can see them right here. We've got full strength and stamped off, so keep that in mind. You could, if you feel more comfortable, you could put your mountains down here and then kind of get an idea. I think it's pretty much going to just peek over. I just go like this and then I move it just slightly, ever so slightly. Gives it that foggy forest look.
Mm-hmm.
I can go that way and go the other way. I love it. Okay, I'm going to stop there.
Gives it a nice full forest look. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here I can add that, and that's going to just be that forest behind the mountains that are in the, you know, foreground. Okay, so now we're going to add some blues, and I've got the balmy blue, and I've got the boho blue. I'm going to try. I'm going to first see what I've got here. I'm going to try to get a little bit of that off. Okay, and I'm just going to come across. I'm starting off my paper. Get off of there. And I'm just adding color. So this time I did do a lot of blending brush technique. I know you did some last month.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's just fun.
They're a great tool to have. I mean, and like, notice how she like brushed that off, right? So she could have one blending brush that is just for blues. She could
Yeah.
have one blending brush that's just for greens because you can mix and match them. Just rub it off on your scrap paper like she's doing, and then just pick up another color and you're good to go. There's just so much you can do with them.
Yeah. So I'm using the exact same brush. I just brush it off a little bit. I'm going to go really light on this one. Got to put your whole body into it.
It's good exercise, right?
It's just a little variance in color.
Yeah.
Okay, so on this card, I've got a lot. You'll see the difference. There's
Mm-hmm.
more blending. This one was a little bit heavier. I like them both. So now you've seen two different ways, and I'm going to stop right there. Now we're going to do a little bit of embossing, and I've got my embossing supplies right here, and I always keep them in this tray. So we're going to use Versamark ink, and then I love to use all of these tools. So I always, since I just recently inked this, I'm going to definitely hit it with my embossing buddy because I do not want that to pick up any of my fingerprints or the other ink. Okay, and that's why I do it. Now the powder pal is great if you keep your powder in a jar. I do not. I use mine in a container just like this. I think Betsy does too. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to stamp the words thinking of you.
Ooh,
God,
look
I'm
how
getting,
pretty your Versamark ink pad is. My Versamark ink pad's like a dirty,
oh.
dirty gray. Yours is like pretty and new.
Well, I have a little secret. I have this one is kept only at my embossing station. And I
Oh,
actually have about, gosh, 12 pads. And they're, I mean, that sounds like a lot, but listen, when I first started 20 years ago, I'm still using the same pad. Oh, I got one more
right.
thing to do.
I knew you were going to come up with a big number, but I was not expecting 12.
Oh, I think I do behind me. I bet I'm going to count and let you know. I'm going to stamp my moon and my stars and the little dots at the same time. I love this little reverse tweeze.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully I can just tap that off.
Look how pretty that is already.
Now it will, I'm going to heat it. Hopefully it's going to show up for us. Otherwise, I'm going to probably have to ink it a little darker again.
If you tilt it, yeah. Oh, you mean as far as like the embossing, right?
I kind of like it subtle. Okay, so it's super light. Wait, hold up. So what I'm going to do is
Yeah.
go ahead and go over it. And that's great. You have that option to do that. I'm going to go ahead and go over it with the balmy blue. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to hit it with a little Lost Lagoon.
Yeah, a little darker. Give yourself a little darker sky in there.
I'm going to just hit without getting it too, I don't want it too blotchy.
Just a real light hand.
But I think it's fixable. I think you can see it better already. I mean, in person, you definitely can. It's still probably a little light for you.
No, I think you can. I think you can see it, and I think, like you said, you're just giving that sky a little bit of a darker look. Yeah.
Now, if I had a Kleenex handy right here, I do have a towel right here. I can see it.
I was going to say, yep.
I would use my shirt, but no one wants to see that. Kitchen towel. Okay, let me get back.
Why do you wipe it? Why did you wipe it off?
So I wiped it because I want, if the embossing powder got any of the ink on it, then that's going to bring that back to a nice white state.
Nice.
So in person, this is it shows up really good. This one, yes, shows up a little bit better, but that's also a bolder stamp. This is a little finer stamp. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and I pre-cut the Lost Lagoon trees. And I have a little tip on those. Let me get them going the right way. Let me make sure this one I think is flipped over. Okay, so I'm going to line them all up. And I'm going to bring in this stamp of all things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to bring in the Lost Lagoon. And I'm adding texture to my trees with these silly dots.
Oh, well, that's genius.
So I'm adding a little texture. I can go as heavy as I want or as light as I want. I'm going to do one more here. This one flipped on me. I think I'm going to stop. And I'm going to move them over so you can see. I think, can you see my lighting is not great today?
No, yeah, no, I could see it when you were stamping them. It's like, oh my gosh, look, they have little spots now.
Yeah, they have little spots, just little dots. I'll hold one up here.
Very
See?
cute.
Yeah, there you
Very
can.
cute.
Yeah, so I just liked that looked. Now, where did my mountains go? All right, so now it's time to put the card together. Oh, wait, not yet, not yet. But then there's more. One more
But
thing.
wait, there's more.
More. So one thing I like to do, and you can see it on here, is I like to do a little bit of splatter. And I'm going to use a Stampin' blend, and you could use whatever color you want. I grabbed a couple different ones. I thought, well, maybe I would want to use both. So I'm going to just warn you. This is a light touch, a light touch. Okay. So when you're using your Stampin' blends, and you're going to flick it using the lid. I like to do this, but it's super light. It's just a super light flick. It's nothing heavy at all. I'm not bending my brush end at all. I'm just doing a super light flick. Now I'm going to add
What
a little.
color is that?
Well, this is Azure Afternoon, which sounds funny, but I wanted
Hmm.
to add a little brightness. And then this is the Light Starry Sky. So this will give you that little bit of darkness if you want it. It gives you a two-tone splatter look. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it. See
My
how pretty?
goodness. That's
And
very
again,
pretty.
this would be the perfect spot to do Betsy's Winkastella. If you want to do the little Winkastella, this would be a good spot to do it. So now I did the same thing as Betsy. I cut my paper up. You can see the ridge is about 1/4 of an inch. If you didn't and you wanted it way down here, that would work perfectly fine too. And then I could just cut that off at the bottom. And I may move it down just so that I'm showing you both ways. And like Betsy, I'm just going to run just a strip across the bottom. I want to make sure that my card, oh yeah, okay, I like that a lot.
It's
And
pretty.
then I can just take my snips and I'm going to snip it all the way around. So you could, I could have gone right to the edge, but I moved my mountains down a little bit to show more of the trees and more of the sky. And so because of that, I could bring in my trimmer or I could just use my snips just like so. All
When
right.
I was cutting my packets, I cut an extra packet of cards, of your cards, when I was cutting. And I thought, oh, I should just sell those. But now as I'm watching you make your cards, I'm like, I want to stamp them and I want to make them. I want to make them. You've inspired me to make cards.
Oh, howdy do. I love that.
You've inspired me.
We just have a few more steps left. We've got to adhere our trees, and then we've got to cut out our those glitter stars. I'm going to show you why I didn't cut them in advance. So these I did glue straight down, and I do just like Betsy did. I think that's the best way, just running a straight line down and putting the tree. These are the trees that are in the forefront.
Yeah, you don't need much. A little bit of glue goes a long way, right?
My watch just says I did a move goal, so I don't know what that is because I'm sitting on my butt.
Your arm movements. You got your
My
arm
arm movement.
exercises in with all that blending.
That's so funny. So sometimes when you use the liquid glue, and Betsy can attest to this, you have to put it on and then hold it for just a second.
Yeah.
You just want to hold it. I use a full pad of paper, of grid paper, and I usually lift up a sheet and then I press like this. I do that a lot.
That way, if it squirts out a little bit, you got
Yep.
something to kind of pick it up without your hands being on it.
Yep. And you can vary these trees. I'm going to glue this one on before I do that same technique. I'm going to put that
Little
one
baby
in.
tree.
I'm going to put it under and give it a little press there. Then I don't feel like I'm getting my fingers inky or gluey or I'm getting my inky fingers on the project. This one, I'm going to glue the little tree right over the mama and daddy tree. I don't know why.
It's
The
getting
mommy.
silly in here, folks.
Yeah. Okay, so let's bring in our die and our little piece of glitter paper. And I've got my dies right under here. Sorry, you have to see my big fat arm. Here's all my stars. And I'm going to bring in my mini so that I'm not totally involving my whole desk with my big Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine.
Gotta love the Baby Boss. Baby Boss is perfect.
But see, we've given you a piece so you can cut all the stars you can ever imagine, so you just go hog wild. I'm going to go back. All right, so remember, this is a self-adhesive. Okay.
It's part of the online exclusives, right?
Yes. Yes. And you get gold, a sheet of gold and a sheet of silver. Now, they've stuck in there, and this one, because I ran it through twice, actually came off of the adhesive sheet. Sometimes your adhesive sheet will stay in there and your stars will come out with the adhesive, but you just don't know. Sometimes I've had both experiences.
Might depend on how detailed the die is.
Yeah, and I ran it through twice. If I only ran it through once, it might have done something different. So I'm just I'm going to take those stars out of the die first. And then I'm using an old paper piercing tool because I don't know where I've put my take your pick tool. But what I like to do is just take the pokey end of the take your pick and see how it just slides right off. And then I can put the stars in my sky. If you just take it and slide it right off, then you can pick
Oh, wow, it does slide off easily, doesn't it?
Slides right off, just like that. Slide that
because I
off.
thought, oh, how's she ever going to get the backing off those little tiny stars?
And this one's minuscule. I got it. That's going to take me longer to get it flipped over. See if I can do it on my finger without poking myself. See, it just slides right off.
Oh, nice.
Just like that, and then I can stick it. And you can do as many or few stars as you want. Oh, this is one. These baby ones, woo!
They're tiny.
It just adds a little bit of shimmer. Maybe we want to start way over here.
It's very pretty. Oh my goodness.
So there's the so thankful for you. It's just a generic, soft, pretty card. And then here's one for the holidays. And we'll finish it. I've got the layer here. And I'm going to bring in my no, I'm going to use Balmy Blue. No, I'm going to use Boho Blue. I just
I want this one. No, I want that one.
I think they all would have been good.
They all are good. Yep.
Pretty.
Because you have all those shades, right? Yeah.
You have all the shades in there. I'm going to stamp this one off. That one's got a funky. Okay, so pretty. Okay, so let me show you my card again. Let me put it up here. And then I've got just quite the array of stuff here, don't I?
Yay! We did it!
We did it!
We did it! And they are so cute.
Yeah, I really hope that you guys were inspired by these cards using the Forever Forest and think about Christmas or masculine. Betsy showed masculine birthday. I showed a thinking of you, a sympathy card. I mean, it just with any greeting. So you don't have to have a greeting in your set to just make it anything, really anything. I mean, this little forest is can be both kind of naturey, or it can be, I don't know, kind of it could even be like a baby. I think you could do a baby card with something in this with these little stars and stuff.
With the little baby deer. Put the little baby deer on your baby card. Right? Yeah. When
So,
you look at this in the catalog, you think to yourself, okay, well, everything in the catalog is like holiday. It's all Christmas and it's in with all the Christmas stuff. But this is so not a Christmas set. I mean, it can be used for anything, any holiday, you just add a greeting to it and you're good to go.
yeah, that's right.
Unlike what Mary Ellen picked for next month, which is absolute torture for me. And I
That's
think she
gonna
did
be
it on
fantastic.
purpose.
No,
But this is what we're using next month. This is
isn't it
so,
awesome? Isn't
it's
it
so
awesome?
not my style. This
Oh,
is going to be a struggle, girlfriend, a true struggle.
well, you might not be able to use brown.
I think I'm up for the challenge, but
I think the gingerbread man you could use for
gingerbread bean.
pie.
Yeah, I don't know. You're killing me on this one, girl. You're just killing me. But this is what we're using for next month. So make sure you tune in because my cards are going to be a hot mess. So,
No, they're not. They're gonna be gorgeous.
so make sure you join
So
us next month.
Mary Ellen will be designing all 4 cards for next month. No, come on.
She will. Hey, that's not a bad idea. I like that idea.
I've already got all kinds of ideas.
And I have got none. I'm like, I just look at this set going, I don't even know where to start.
So I want you guys to chime in right now and challenge Betsy. Just challenge her. Give her some encouragement. She needs it.
This is a scary set to me. Okay, so tune in next month. We always post. Definitely sign up. We open up registration for Stamp It Your Way on the 1st. It runs until the 10th. That way, then we can place all of our orders on the 11th. And we always post this fun, crazy video on the last Wednesday of the month, so that you can see how to put these cards together. And we hope you'll join us again next month.
That's right. We can hardly wait.
Me either. All right, everybody, have a good night.
Bye, everybody.